Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to yet another episode of the Loose Ends Podcast. I believe we are on episode 10 of the Loose Ends Podcast. I am your host, Mr. Robert Hernandez. Thank you once again for tuning in and choosing to spend this time with me. You don't have much time on this earth, and I really appreciate anybody who is taking the time out of their day to give me a shot. So thank you. Before we get into anything else, I just want to acknowledge the people who sent me very nice and warm messages last week when I surprise released an audio-only episode, the 9th episode of the Loose Ends Podcast. If you haven't listened to that one yet, I don't know if it's worth listening to, but maybe if you're a person who cares about continuity, it might be good for you to go back and listen to. I was kind of just rambling and trying to get myself back into the groove of things. So it wasn't the most, it wasn't the best flowing episode I've ever made, nor was it the episode I wanted to put out, but more so it was the episode that had to come out eventually, because that's kind of how it goes. You don't need to, not everything has to be perfect. And that's, it's a very overused cliche, but I feel like when you are in the process of fleshing out ideas and trying to figure out what's going to stick to the wall, you just have to keep putting your shots up and, kind of keep moving through. So I really appreciate you guys and all of the patience that you've had. It just really made me feel very happy inside. So really, really, really just want to say thank you to everybody who listened last week. And I just wanted to come back and check in a little beginning of the week type audio only, I guess, again, episode, and say what's up and give you guys a little bit of an update on what my thought process is and maybe what to expect going forward from the show. I really am liking the mix of audio and video episodes. I think that it allows me the it allows me the space to feel like I can put out audio only episodes and not have to put all of the pressure on a once a week video episode. So I feel like this formula is something that might be able to stick for a little while. I feel like it's a little bit easier for me to stick on the routine of recording. So I'm not going to say I'll do X amount of audio-only episodes a week, but I'm saying that this is a lot easier for me as the person who not only records this show, edits this show, and eventually puts out this show. It's just not as much work, so it's a lot easier for me to just get the thing out as opposed to trying to make a video the most amazing video I have ever seen. I just don't think that's a goal that I will be able to achieve by myself, considering I'm competing against people that have complete teams of people whose job it is to grow and promote and market a show. But that's kind of just the reality of starting something out. You're not going to have everything that you need, and nor are you going to feel like you're in the right place to be doing what you want to do at that moment. And I feel like for a long time I was kind of dealing with a lot of that but I could be doing it, but maybe if I wait, I'll feel a little bit better when I do go to do it. And it's like, well, sure, maybe that would be the case, but eventually the law of diminishing returns comes into play, and you have to be honest with yourself about the fact of, yes, there might be some validity in the statement regarding you waiting to do something, waiting for your perfect moment, waiting for the right circumstances, but most of the time, those are all just things that you're picturing in your head that might not even really be there. I don't think anybody that started a podcast, except for the Talk to a Girl, has had a full team of producers and advertisers and marketers behind her that can, behind them that can really push a show into whatever part of the zeitgeist you're trying to be in. And I don't think that it's good for me to hold myself to the same standard of people who have been in this game for 10 years. So I'm trying to let go of my preconceived notions. I'm trying to let go of my own expectations for what I want this thing to be. And I'm just trying to create in a more free and lighthearted way towards not only myself, but there were some older episodes where I felt like I was becoming very frustrated on camera because I didn't feel like it was going how I wanted it to go. And looking back on those things now, I feel like the better thing to do in that situation might have just been to accept the fact that the thing wasn't exactly how I wanted it to be and just kind of keep progressing towards whatever the goal or the idea was. That probably would have been better than me just taking an entire year off away from the thing. But, hindsight is 2020, and there's things that you're not going to realize until after you have walked through the situation that you were dreading having to experience. So I am just really glad that I feel like I'm settling into some sort of routine in the show, and I know that because this show is not something that I get is very palatable for a lot of people, it doesn't mean that that should stop me from continuing to do the thing. And I think if I was so concerned about being palatable, I would probably take a little bit better care of myself and do a couple of other things other than worry about who's going to listen to the show and what they're going to think of me. But yeah, I always get into this mood at the end of the year where I'm very prone to reflect on things, and some of the things that I like to reflect on are things that I feel like are good, and they're things that I do need to keep tabs on, and there's other stuff that sometimes my brain can trick me into caring about that don't necessarily need to be reflected on or need to be thought into in any other way, or they don't need to be ran through this like sort of analytical like framework to figure out how I'm going to improve myself or what I could have done differently. I think as I'm getting older, I'm starting to understand that maybe the goal, it was never to improve myself. I don't think that when I was looking back at this year, I was looking through the lens that would lead me to improve any parts of my life. I think I was looking through the lens of, well, why didn't you do it this way? Or you could have done that if you weren't so afraid. You could have done this if you didn't let fear get in your way. You could have been 52 episodes in as opposed to 10, right? But I'm trying to get out of the business of shitting on myself, and I don't know how I'm going to do that, but I think I'm making very big steps in the path towards maybe me feeling like I don't need to improve myself, and maybe the better thing to do would be to just accept myself. And I think there's a lot of people that, because of the world that we live in now, where you're constantly being told that you don't have enough money and that you're not hot enough, or you don't, why would you wear Vans? You should have Off-White shoes. Why would you buy Bear Paws when you can buy Uggs? Wouldn't you feel better wearing the Uggs? No, you probably wouldn't. You're going to feel the exact same fucking way, whether you have Bear Paws on your feet or Uggs on your feet. And, I'm just trying to not be so hard on myself. And I don't know where I got this feeling from, but it's a feeling that I've felt for an incredibly long time, where I constantly feel like I'm playing catch up. not necessarily with anybody around me or situations that are going on in my life, but more so I feel like I've always have had this like innate feeling that for some reason I started the race from, you know, a couple steps behind. And I think that when you start to tell yourself that type of story, it becomes very easy to reflect on things and blame yourself and put the pressure on yourself as to why things didn't go the way that you maybe would have liked or planned. But what I'm learning now is that regardless of how I want things to go, some things are just going to go how they're going to go. And that's okay. And there is no shame in you getting through something as best you can. I don't think that you're going to win every battle that you fight in your life. And you know what? If you are walking through this world with no losses and all victories, God bless you. But I just don't think that's the reality for most people. And I'm trying to tell myself that because for the longest time, I thought that everybody around me and everybody that I've met and everybody that I've ever experienced or shared a moment with was coming from a place that was, for some reason, more deserving of success and love and acceptance than I am, which is just not the case. I don't think that's the case at all. But that's what I was thinking because that's the story that you tell yourself. That's the way that you can lock yourself into thinking that you don't deserve the good things that you want from your life. And I know that's not healthy, but that's what my coping mechanism was. I think instead of me actually being able to focus on the things that I wanted to focus on, I instead built the lie around me, the lie that is, you can't have what you want. You don't deserve the success that you know you can achieve. You will never be accepted for who you are. Therefore, you need to chameleon yourself every time you walk into a room. And where that got me is to a place of feeling intensely and quite honestly, just very, very lost. I don't know what else I could even call the last 4 years of my life, but I think since 2020, my life has changed a lot. I moved away from my hometown, and I think that the change that was going on around me never registered to me as like, hey man, like you're actually moving along in the path that you set out for yourself and you're achieving things that you told yourself you were going to achieve, that you told other people you were going to achieve. And I think in the past 4 years, I got really good at taking credit away from myself for anything. I think I'm really bad at accepting compliments. I don't let people tell me that I'm good at stuff. I constantly have to budge in and be like, well, you know, I'm only good at that because I'm gay, or you know, say something fucking dumb and like just deflect. And that has left me in a place where I felt like I was incapable of everything. And that is part of the reason why the show did not continue at the pace that it was supposed to continue, because how could I fake the funk to you that I deserve your attention when I don't think that I deserve your attention? I don't know if I said that right, but it sounded good coming out. And I'm just hypothesizing here on what was going on and what I'm feeling now, and trying to not reflect on, but take in the negative feelings that I had about where my life was and what the trajectory of my life in the past 4 years may have felt like at times. And I'm trying to take that pressure off of myself and do my best to just be a good human being to the people around me and even people that I don't know. So that at least if I don't feel like I deserve the love that I get, or the you know, at least if I feel those things, I can at least look around to the people that I love and say, you know what, I do deserve love because I work very hard to make sure that everybody around me feels the love that I have for them. And I'm really trying to be better about showing the love that I normally show to other people to myself. And I think that's a very hard thing to do. I don't think that a lot of people learn those skills. You don't learn how to love who you are when you're in school. And, unless you had very, very, very emotionally intelligent parents, I think it's even harder. I think that if you're just a normal average American kid growing up in the 2000s and 2010s, I think that the world changed so much, and the adults had no idea what was coming. And as a result, I think we have a lot of 18 to 29-year-olds who are a lot more advanced and a lot more well-equipped to deal with their own emotions than even their parents were at their age. And, not trying to shit on anybody or, make my situation seem like it was that good. But I think I was very lucky to have a mom who allowed me to ask questions about what she was feeling. Because given the age gap between us, I think that for a lot of my life, I felt like we were more siblings than we were mom and son. And I was able to really look at her and watch her grow from, the age of 16 until, even to this day, she's continuing to grow. And I think that there was probably a lot of times in the past where my mom didn't feel like she was well equipped to take care of me. And I think that maybe, just maybe, a lot of the feelings that I have towards myself aren't necessarily even feelings that I have towards myself. I think they're just things that were conditioned in my brain because of the situations and the experiences that I have as a human being. Good and bad. But hey, I'm just hypothesizing here. This was supposed to be just a little quick catch-up episode, and here I am 18 minutes later still rambling on about, yet again, my feelings. God forbid I can go one episode without talking about how I feel, but I'm trying this thing where I don't take all of my feelings to the most literal, I don't take everything that I feel as reality, and I'm trying to sparse through my feelings in a little bit healthier of a way. And I think in my journey of doing that, I have come across a couple of things that I don't think have ever really occurred to me. So I'm trying to, as a result of, dropped my phone. As a result of me trying to sparse through what I actually feel towards myself and what I have told myself that I feel towards myself, I've come to realize that a lot of the stuff that has held me back in the past was really just my own perception of who I am. And this kind of goes back to what I was talking about earlier, but I think that, if you don't feel like you deserve the success that you know you can achieve, why would anybody else feel that way? So over the past year, I had to take a step back and go, hey, bud, I know you say you want all of these great things and you're striving for them, or, at least you're trying to strive for them. But as bad as you may want the things that you claim you want, it just might not be what you think it'll be. And maybe that is the part of the journey that is that's the hardest to get through, is the acceptance of the fact that maybe, just maybe, you won't get everything you want and everything won't go the way that you plan. And that's okay. So, I don't really know where else to go from there, but I think I've done enough talking, and I'm really not trying to walk myself in conversational circles. So, for the sake of keeping this episode short and hopefully you guys being able to get through whatever I just said in the past 20 minutes, I think I'm going to have to let you guys go. And I will talk to you on the next episode of the Loose Ends podcast. I'm your host, Robert Hernandez. If you made it this far, you won an award. And the award is, you can follow me on Instagram at Robert Raymond Hernandez. I'm not going to spell it because, well, if you can't sound that out, you shouldn't have a social security number. But God bless you. God bless everybody that you love and know and care about. And I hope that you are happier today than you were yesterday. Love you. Thank you. Bye.